All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm pre-recording the currency call just so that everyone from all club members from around the world can catch this um, video straight away. Don't have to wait for the 11 o'clock time frame to jump onto the call. So this will be available to all club members immediately. And if you are watching us on YouTube, this is going to be released later onto YouTube for all non-club members. If you are not a club member, make sure you check out the links and the comments below just so that you can find out how to join the club and you can get this video earlier and also any other videos that I would be recording and uploading for club members throughout the day. With that said, it is the 20th of May. It is Friday towards the end of the week. So on Fridays, what we'll do is we'll look at the dollar index, we'll look at the US CAD, and also some of the cryptocurrencies. With that, as usual, what we'll have to do first, any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of myself. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Okay, so checking out the news here on Forex Factory. For today, not a lot of news to be happening. Across the board, we do have some pound retail sales number looking like it's going to go from a minus 1.4% to a minus 0.3%. So a bit of a slowdown in retail sales because of that high inflation number, but we don't think that this is going to move the pound dollar too significantly. The current issue or the current thing about the currency market is that because there's not a lot of news for this week, we've seen the dollar actually retrace quite significantly, and I'll show you that shortly. A little bit more than we expected, but we anticipate that from this point, it looks like the dollar might bounce back up. With that, as we are towards the end of the week, let's look into what could happen next week as well. A lot of things into next week. Monday, a little bit quiet, but the action starts on Tuesday onwards, where we do have Governor Bailey early Tuesday morning speaking at a monetary policy titled Monetary Policy Interaction and Inflation in a Post-Pandemic World with Severe Geopolitical Tensions. So that might move markets. I don't think it will move too significantly, but his comments about monetary policy interactions and inflation, especially the keyword there, could move the pound dollar if Governor Bailey does come out and signal any potential actions that he might be taking or policy adjustments that he might be taking. With that as well, on Tuesday, we do have the PMI numbers for the German and the Eurozone, but the focus will be on Wednesday with the Kiwi dollar cash rates adjustments. Are we going to see them increase again from that 1.5% higher? So the last time in April, they went from a 1%, expected a 25 basis point. They went up by 50 basis points. Are we going to see the RBNZ increase rates to a 2% just to stem down the inflation growth? So that's going to be quite crucial on Wednesday. But don't worry, I'll guide you through that on Monday during the currency call, and also for club members during our session on Tuesday night. We'll record that as well. With that, we do have on Thursday morning FOMC meeting minutes could give us an indication into whether or how aggressively the FOMC is likely to increase rates into the future. US GDP numbers to be released as well, and not much else after that. So next week is going to possibly be quite interesting, where we see not a lot of news, but relatively high impact news, especially with the Kiwi dollar the Kiwi dollar and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand to come out with their policy statement and adjustments, possible adjustments, and the FOMC meeting minutes. With all that said, let's pay attention to what could happen for today with the CAD and into next week. The dollar index here We were anticipating for the dollar to come down towards 103.17 and to bounce back up. It hasn't happened, so I'll take that away. It hasn't happened. It's actually broken below that 103 level, tested as low as 102.69 or 102, almost 70, and it looks like it's bouncing back up now. At this point, I think that we're likely to see, if I zoomed out, you can see that the dollar is moving in that downward trend. It's likely to sit again back in this region. I don't think that we have enough news or enough momentum to push the dollar above this 103.30 level. So I think that today we're likely to see the dollar index maybe move up to that point and sit there. So not a big upside expected in the dollar index. We did see that big drop last night. So what resulted in that big drop? Coming back to the news again, there wasn't news. So if I came back to this, there wasn't any news release or big news release that could have resulted in that big drop, but it could be because of how there were talks about achieving that soft landing and reasons why power soft landing is impossible. So the idea that the US might be going into recession because of the high inflation, the a bit late to increase rates, the idea that the US might be going into recession led to that big drop in the dollar index. So with that, what has resulted is we saw, if I would actually go back to the Aussie dollar that I was sharing on Monday and yesterday, we saw that push on the Aussie dollar towards the upside. It was a good trade there. We saw the pound dollar continue its big move towards the upside, towards that 1.25 level. It hasn't triggered our buy level yet, but I like how it's rejected that level. And we do see the dollar index start gaining some strength that might give us a bit of a double top pattern here. A double top pattern here on the dollar index. We could see the downside back down again. And then the euro dollar, similar to the pound dollar, we see it push higher, almost testing that 106 level, or now testing that 106 level and rejecting. So I like how across the board we saw, although we saw the dollar weakness early, well, into the session last night, but if we do see any dollar strength right now or into next week as well, we're seeing across the board the euro dollar, the pound dollar, the Aussie dollar especially, all reacting to key levels and rejecting those key levels. So we could see that resumption of that downside on the euro dollar and maybe a reversal on the pound dollar back down again. So these are things that I'll be watching out, not so much a little bit today, but more into next week. With that, looking at the US CAD, I really like how the US CAD is setting up right now. It has tested this 1.28 level on the 18th of May. It tested it twice yesterday or early this morning, and then it's pushed back up, right? It's failed to break lower and it seems to be pushing back up. I think that we could be looking at good upside potential here on the US CAD, especially if we see that dollar strength come around. So with that, what you could be looking for on a US CAD at this point at about 1.2828, if you did have that, you'd have a 30-40 pip stop loss, a good 80 pip take profit level, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the upside on the US CAD if it does push up. This is a slightly aggressive or risk-taking entry because it is sitting right in the middle and it hasn't broken that point of 1.2850 yet. So this could be an early entry. If you are a little bit more risk adverse, what you could be looking out for is a repeat of what we spoke about here, where you could be looking for the dollar CAD to push above that 1.2850, a 30 pip stop loss, a 60 pip take profit level, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the upside. So two trade ideas here. One, slightly more aggressive, slightly more risk taking. Two, a little bit more conservative, waiting for it to break above the 1.2850 before buying towards the upside. These are all based on that anticipated dollar strength to come around to push the US CAD higher. What if it does turn down? Then you could also be looking for a repeat of what happened early May, on the 5th of May, when it broke that 1.28. You see a very quick move. You could see a very quick move towards the 1.2710 level. Again, you could be looking at a selling opportunity towards the downside, 1.2784, stop loss about a 30 pips, quite tight there, and a take profit at about 70 pips, a 1:2, 1:2.4 risk reward ratio towards the downside on the US CAD. So I like the US CAD here because it is sitting right at that level. If we do see the dollar strength come around, we could see it push higher quite strongly, 1:2 towards the upside. If that dollar strength does, if that dollar does continue to weaken, then we'll see it drop below this 1.28 very quickly, like what happened here on the 5th of May towards that 1.2714 level. So stay very flexible on the US CAD, both upside and downside potential, depending on how the dollar index is going to perform. With that, looking at some cryptocurrencies, hasn't done too much since that big drop we saw on the 12th of May, that big significant drop, and we all know what happened there. It has been sitting in consolidation. I do think we're going to see further upside, especially onto Ethereum here. But what I think is likely to happen is we're going to see it come down, test that 1900 level again before pushing back up. So hold your horses on the Ethereum at this point. Possibly not ready to buy yet. I'm still looking at a possible retrace to test the support again before a stronger push towards the upside. So wait out on that. And lucky last, looking at Bitcoin. Oops. Looking at Bitcoin, the last time we were looking at it at this point, at the reaction towards 32,000 level, it's gone lower. It's gone lower at 32,000. Still sitting at that level. I think that Bitcoin would be a little bit different. I don't think it'll come down as much. I don't think it'll test this 27,800 level again. I think what's likely to happen on Bitcoin is we're going to sit right across. It's going to sit right across. The lowest it could get is to that 29,500 level, but sit in that tight range for an extended period of time. So nothing too interesting on the cryptocurrencies at this point. I think they're all still reeling from what happened across the 12th of May. So everyone's still catching their breath, being a little bit uncertain. That's why we've seen markets or prices sit in that horizontal fashion, in that consolidation, very close to that 30,000 level. So 30,000 is a key level there. Just watch what happens at this point. I think it's still going to sit in consolidation. With that, I hope you enjoy this recorded session just so that you can catch up on the markets earlier. And if you have any comments or questions, club members, please put it into the club platform and I'll answer you from there. And if you have any trades or ideas, share it there. We're more than happy to discuss and to guide you through your trading journey. With that, trade well, trade safe, and have a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye now.